Welcome to Bits and Pieces Quilting. Today we are going to make the second center block in the community round robin quilt along. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Michelle, and today I am thrilled to present for you the second center block for the community round robin quilt along. It's the house block. When we got together to brainstorm for this round robin project, it was Future Cat who suggested the theme of community. And for me, a house is kind of the core of a community. And this could be a house, this could be a community center, this could just be a safe space in the community that means something to someone. And so I was thrilled to design this block with a little bit of a three-dimensional look to it, and this is where color placement will be important. And then thanks to Future Cat, many of us have focused on fussy cutting. So there's a huge opportunity here to fussy cut for your windows. So what's going to live in your house, I wonder? This has been a super fun project, and I'm so grateful to Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda for inviting me to participate and for suggesting this community round robin quilt along. It's been great to get to know Brenda, to get to know Kelly, to get to know Future Cat, and have a real international flair to our quilting project. So I've been based in Australia for the last 4.5 years. Future Cat is in New Zealand. Kelly and Brenda are in Canada, although Brenda's a bit of a snowbird, so she's sometimes in Arizona. So we've connected by Zoom meetings and by email to work on this community project together. So you should have already seen Brenda's center block as well as the borders that Kelly and Future Cat have designed for Brenda's block. Now it's my turn to present my center block, and then Brenda and Future Cat will put the first border and the second border on that, and so on. And so down in the description box below, you'll see a complete list of all of the different videos and the weeks that they're going to be released. And you'll also be able to get all of the patterns for this project, whether it's Brenda's centers or Kelly's borders or Future Cat's borders or centers. All of the patterns will be available on my website at www.bitsandpiecesquilting.com. At the end of the community round robin quilt along, the entire pattern pack will be there. But for now, we're just releasing each pattern as each video is released. So we hope that you will join in and quilt along with us. One of the rules that we set for ourselves for this project was that it was to be beginner friendly, but maybe have some teaching elements to it, that you would need no special rulers, no special templates, and that it would be scrap friendly. So you don't need a whole lot of fabric to make the house block. You just need a keen interest in developing something fun for your community, and maybe a little bit of fussy cutting if you'd like. So let's dive right into this block. I decided for my center block for the community round robin that I wanted to do a house, because a house or a building represents so many things in a community. It represents a home, it represents a safe space. This could be a community center, this could be a home, but I think it fits the theme of community really, really well. So I designed this house, and I really like the magic of the two colors. This is where your color selection is going to be really important, because the right hand, or I guess the left hand side for you, the left hand side of the house is a darker fabric than the light on the right hand side, and that gives it a slight three-dimensional effect, which I really like. Huge thanks to Future Cat for their design suggestions. My original house was this one, and it looked a little weird to me, but Future Cat made some really great suggestions. They suggested shortening the door and adding that to the sky, which I did, and also changing out the windows so that there was just one window on this shorter side. And then I also found that a darker roof made all the difference. So the original prototype and then the perfected house, which is the pattern that you'll find on my website at www.bitsandpiecesquilting.com. Future Cat has also created a bit of a monster in that the windows are fussy cut. I looked through my collection of fabric to see what I could find to put in the windows of my houses. So the red house has cats. You'll see in a minute that the yellow house is going to have bugs, and the teal house is going to have dinosaurs in the front door and the windows. So I encourage you to look through your collection and see if you have some fun things that you might want to put into your house and into your doors. So go get the pattern, download that from my website. All of the dimensions are going to be listed there because there are quite a few little pieces in this house, but it is not difficult, I promise. And also, this is very much a scrap-friendly project. This is all the fabric that you need for an entire house. It's not much. The biggest piece that you will need is 2.5 by 6 inches of your sky fabric, and you will need a piece that's 3 by 3.5 for the left-hand side of the house. Everything else, 2.5 inches, 1.5 inches, everything else is really small, so dig into your scraps. You need a piece that's 3 inches wide, a strip of fabric, but you need hardly any out of it. Less than half a strip will be enough for the left-hand side of your house. You need even less for the right-hand side of the house. Really, something that's 2.5 inches wide by only about 10 or 12 inches should get you enough. Sorry, that's not going to be right. If it's 3 inches wide and 5.5 inches long, you'll be able to cut these pieces, but the pattern will tell you the minimum amount that you need, and it's really not much. So please dig into your scrap bin for this project. So let me just lay out these pieces. The right-hand side of the house here is made up of 1.5 inch squares for the window and the sides, made up of the 3 by 3.5, and then a 1.5 by 3 here. The most difficult part of this house are the half square triangles. You need to make a half square triangle with a house and roof and house and sky piece, and another house and sky piece, as well as a roof and sky piece. This is all in the pattern and all in the instructions, but these are 2.5 inch squares. Then we have some sky pieces, and of course the right hand side of the house, which in this case I've got a red door. These are 2 by 2.5. This is 1.5 by 2. Got the 1.5 inch windows with some bugs in them. Same thing here, 1.5 by 5. So to make the half square triangles, I prefer just the line down the center. So I'm going to take the lighter fabric, and with my pencil, I'm going to just draw a line down the center, like that. Then just line that up. I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on either side of the half square triangle and cut it apart and square it down to 2 inches. So I'll show you how to do that once I go over to the sewing machine. I only need one of these half square triangles. So if you are going to use the same sky and the same roof in all of your house blocks, then you can actually use this other piece for something for the other block. Unfortunately, we'll have half square triangles over here. We only need one, but we will be making 2. So you will have extras to go into your scrap collection. I'm going to go sew the lines on my half square triangles, and then I'll come back and show you how I square them up. So these are my half square triangles all sewn, and I'm just going to slice right on that line that I drew, and that will give me, if my pen doesn't roll away, that will give me 2 half square triangles that match out of each of these sets. Like I mentioned, you only need one of each for this project. So I need a roof and sky, I need a roof and left side of the house, and I need a left side of the house and sky. So I'll put these 3 into my scrap bin and find another use for them. I'm going to press these seams open. I'm just going to pop over to the iron and do that. I have become a little bit obsessed with pressing seams open if you watch my channel, and especially on half square triangles. It just makes everything line up so much flatter when I'm sewing these pieces together. You don't get a big chunk of fabric where you're in the corner where your layers have come together. So I'm just going to step over to the iron and give these a quick press. All right, we're back. So a nice flat seam pressed open. And now in order to square up my blocks, I'm going to use this ruler that has a 45-degree angle right through the corner. And I'm going to line this up right on my diagonal line like this. I'm going to pull it down just a little so that I can see my 2-inch marks all the way. Basically, I'm going to be able to trim off a little bit off of each of the 4 sides. And it's just a matter of keeping your ruler lined up along that 45-degree angle, cutting around all 4 sides to get a nice perfectly squared 2-inch half square triangle. Like that. I'm going to do the others, and then I'm going to go through and sew together some of the little, I like to think of them almost like rows. So I'm going to sew the chimney to the sky piece. I'm going to sew the windows to their alternating house pieces. I'm going to sew the door to its pieces, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about how to assemble the rest of the house. So I have sewn the pieces of my house together to almost create little rows. So the door and its sides are a little row, and then we have this piece here, and then the 2 windows, and then the next piece. And I'm going to sew that together into a single unit. Then I'm going to sew together the other side of the house with its, oops, I guess it goes this way. There we go. With its side window top. I'm going to sew the 2 half square triangles together, which I've trimmed. I've already sewn this part of the roof together. I've sewn the chimney and the sky. I'll sew these together to become a row. I'll sew these together to become a row. Each of these pieces then get sewn together and the house gets constructed like that. I hope that makes sense. I have pressed all these seams open. I know that that's really a little bit fussy, but I find that everything, especially when it's this small, lays much flatter when I press those seams open. Here with the half square triangles, we talked about that already. Here on the roof piece, you can see that that lays nice and flat. And if I take this one that's already finished and flip it over, you can see I have all those seams pressed open and it's laying nice and flat, and it'll be nice and flat in the final project. So I'm going to sew all of these together, do one more quick check-in before we finish the house block. So from all of those pieces, we've now come down to the last 4. The left and right hand side of the house, the roof piece, and the sky piece with a little chimney. As I've said over and over, I've pressed all the seams open, so everything is laying nice and flat. I'm going to sew left to right like this, add the roof, add the sky, give it a final press, and come back for the big reveal. And here we have the final house block. All the seams are pressed open. The bugs are firmly ensconced in this house. I think an entomologist is going to live here. I think we'll have maybe a paleontologist live in the dinosaur house. And then the cat house for all of those cat people out there. I think these are going to look super cute. Don't forget to tune in to Kelly's Quilts and Cruises, Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda, and Future Cat for all of the other centers for the round robin. All the links and all of the information that you need is in the description down below. Thanks very much for watching this video on the house block. I hope you enjoyed it. The next step in the community round robin quilt-along will be the first border for the house, and Brenda's designing that one. So you'll head over to Conquering Mount Scrapmore in a week to find out what's going to go around the house block. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoy this project, and don't forget to make the most of your fabric bits and pieces.